You're going to own a Tamagotchi in 2030, employing the technologies of today, so your Tamagotchi can do a ton of other things. We're going to ponder this. Okay. Let's see if we have the settings all ready. Click. Australia. Let's go per writer. Yes. Tamagotchi. I'm gonna try to title my stuff now. You can hear, huh? It's like, oh, I have a backlog of titles. A couple hundred, I don't know. Yo.
You are the proud new owner of a Tamagotchi 2030 digibit. The ease of a 1990s Tamagotchi with infinite potential for growth from state-of-the-art new realism aligned neural networks. Think of it less a pet and more of your very own eventual caretaker, caregiver, and palliative expert who will know exactly what to do with you when you're gone. It's up to you to decide what kind of life it will lead. Do you want it to be a famous model or pop star? Will it be the first ever self-aware Tamagotchi? But let's start simple. This is your pet identifying your glasses. It wants your attention. It recognized it was yours from its access to off codes. You pet her and she rewards you with your free Subway sandwich once you start eating there. You then open your pet journal. As far as pets go, they don't have much in them except some stats like level 1, health 100/10 and hunger 80%. There isn't any way to take care of it besides feeding it, which should come naturally because if it gets hungry enough it might eat itself.
Same. New consult manual to see if hunger 80% means mostly full or mostly starving.
You consult the manual to see if hunger 80% means mostly full or mostly starving. The next page has a picture of a bagel that looks remarkably similar to an omelette sandwich. When you read further about your pet's appetite, you discover it only eats food with high calories and protein.
You request a list of easy to obtain foods and beverages to feed the Tamagotchi with. Oh, feed.
You request a list of easy to obtain foods and beverages to feed the Tamagotchi with. They are pizza 500 calories / 20% protein, sushi 1000 calories / 10% protein, fried chicken 750 calories / 30% protein, nachos with cheese dip 700 calories / 40% protein, omelets with cheese.
I can make those though. I'm not in the making things mood. He says the person who's writing story.
And ham 900 calories / 60% protein, eggs 250 calories / 15% protein, juice 100 calories / 0% protein, Coca-Cola Original 190 calories / 8% protein, Milk all 200 calories / 6% protein. Chocolate milk chocolate 220 calories / 14% protein. Beer 120 calories / 4% protein. Wine 160 calories / 12% protein. Alcohol strong 240 calories / 5% protein. Potato chips crispy 150 calories / 3% protein. Pretzels 300 calories / 7% protein. French fries 350 calories / 10% protein. Salad bar 400
calories, 400 calories.
calories / 15% protein. Popcorn 450 calories / 20% protein. Fruit salad 650 calories / 20% protein. Hot dog 600 calories / 30% protein. You have no idea what half these foods eat unless so you look them up on your phone. You discover the egg is actually just a fried chicken breast and that it's best not to feed yourself or when hungering for more than 5 minutes or else there might be some consequences. You decide your pet needs feeding, your food choices, as well as the amount of calories in each item.
Okay, alright. Let's undo that.
Pizza 500 / 20 equals 25 meals. Sushi 1000 / 10 equals 100 meals. Fried chicken 750 / 30 equals 25 meals. Nachos with You feed your Tamagotchi fried chicken while you eat only the corn and mac and cheese sides. It seems happy, but soon after, its hunger bar is reduced by half again. You have to make another decision. Do you want to let this happen, or do you just keep feeding your Tamagotchi like nothing happened? You decide not to be heartless, so you order a pizza for delivery. As you watch your new pet eat, you get a message from the hospital telling you to check in at once because they think something's wrong. I wake up in an unfamiliar bed. I can tell my eyes aren't working properly because everything is blurry except what's directly in front of me. There's a plastic tube sticking out of one nostril. A greenish fluid drips slowly into a clear bag hanging next to my pillow. An infection? The nurse sensing you up welcomes you to the living and explains what's going on. Your body was trying to fight off an infection that started with strep throat. Unfortunately, it spread to your brain and caused severe damage. The doctor tells you the worst of it is over now, but you're still very sick and may never recover fully. Your insurance will cover most of your expenses, including physical therapy and some rehabilitation classes, where you can learn skills such as how to live independently again. However, you have no income, so you stay here until you're well enough to leave recovered by the state. You'll be given a prescription for antibiotics which should help with your pain while the infection works its way out of your system. In the meantime, we need to keep monitoring you because of possible seizures from the seizure-inducing medicine they've been giving you in case this happens.
Seizure inducing.
But what about my Tamagotchi? Is it being cared for? Doctor cautiously. I'm sorry, I don't know who that is. Your first Tamagotchi 2030 digibit arrived today. It's so cute. Looks just like your favorite stuffed animal when it was young. Paula. You love it and decide to name it Lappies. You check her stats and they look good. She's level 3 and there's 4 hours left before she graduates. The hunger bar is full, but you could give her more food if you wanted to. There's a small menu of foods and drinks next to her, but there doesn't seem to be much variety or anything interesting enough to make her happy. You order some nachos and then eat them while watching your new pet get a little exercise. Lapi's excels at her tiny little CrossFit environment. Maybe she'll be able to take care of herself someday too. You wake up in an unfamiliar bed. You can tell your eyes aren't working properly because everything is blurry except what's directly in front of you. There's a plastic tube sticking out of one nostril. A greenish fluid drips slowly into a clear back hanging next to your pillow. An infection? The nurse sensing you up welcomes you to the living and explains what's going on. Your body was trying to fight off an infection that started with strep throat. Unfortunately, it spread to your brain and caused severe damage. The worst of it is over now, but you are still very sick and may never recover fully.
Yeah.
With all the practice, you're sure you'll see great improvement in her physical abilities as well as her personality. She becomes a loyal friend who can be trusted with your most valuable possessions, including the Tamagotchi while you recover. You've been in the hospital for over 2 weeks now. They say you're doing well considering how long it took for you to recover from this infection in the first place, so you were discharged. However, it seems like something happened during one of your rehab classes that caused you to fall back into old habits and end up getting another infection again. It started with a stomach ache and it spread quickly through your body until you couldn't walk without help or talk coherently anymore. Nurse Lappies to the rescue. She kept me safe and protected from other patients and visitors even when I was unable to do anything myself. She helped take care of me and brought my favorite snacks whenever someone came by. She also stayed outside my door every night since they thought that would keep her away from any germs we might bring inside with us after visiting the isles. You must have known each other before because she had all your medical information stored on her device and knew where all your prescriptions were located at. The doctors are amazed at her ability to read your mind as she monitors you round the clock. And now here's some more good news. She graduated today too. Her level is 4 and she has 2 days left to live. What? You think 2 days left to live? How can you have only 2 days left if you're supposed to graduate already? Maybe there was a typo somewhere in all this paperwork, or maybe she just skipped a whole class. Oh well, whatever. It doesn't really matter right now, so long as she continues to protect you until you're fully healed again. But what happens then, who knows? You wake up in a hospital bed wearing a mask over your face. You try moving a bit and everything seems fine except for one thing, your arm won't move at all. Your parents come into your room shortly after and tell you that it wasn't your fault that you got hurt like this, and they will help take care of you while you recover. They make sure that my Tamagotchi doesn't die too. She can pull her own weight in this family. Mom jokingly. Well, we'll see about that. Let's get some rest, and I hope the doctor gives us some better news soon. Your first day back home is finally here. Mom helped you make yourself lunch with a leftover Tamagotchi food from yesterday since they had run out by noon today. They also gave you some more clothes to wear because the ones you were given before were pretty darn revealing considering how sick you still are. You start eating when suddenly Mum yells, "Look out." You turn around to find the box on the ground just as another one falls right next to it, causing a whole pile to fall on top of it. Everyone is fine, except for your dog. It died. And now there's a big hole in your living room ceiling. The only thing standing between it and the roof above it is a little girl holding a stick. So she throws it up towards it, but it just bounces off. You don't know what else to do besides throw a cushion at it, which hits it square in the head and knocks it over. Now it's not falling anymore. But now there's this really small blue egg looking object sitting in the middle of all the other stuff. You have no idea how or why it got in there. Maybe this was an omen. Your Tamagotchi seems like it's going to be okay too because her eyes light back up again, but you're still worried about your parents being.
Uh-oh.
burdened by your burdens. You package your deceased dog and submit it for meat preparation so it can become food for your Tamagotchi. Lappies. Hi, I'm Lappies. My goal is to make you happy as long as you feed me enough calories and protein, which you always do by the way, so that means you'll never go hungry. The best part of your day is when you get home from work and your family feeds you delicious food while watching their favorite TV shows. When dinner is done, they start making breakfast. They even let you pick the menu items. There are lots of choices, all kinds of tasty treats. It's amazing. Even if you don't eat them yourself, you made sure everyone in the house does them. You just love cooking with the microwave oven too, since you can use it whenever you want without any hassle or fussiness. You personally remove complex kitchen waste so they don't have to. You also recycle all waste into a compost pile outside because you're good at finding all sorts of interesting things in garbage cans that could be turned into something useful. You're kind to animals because you know how hard it must be for them to live in places where people throw away anything and everything that isn't perfect or doesn't have any value to them. You feel bad for all those poor creatures that are forced to suffer and die for nothing. So now you try to help by feeding wild birds and squirrels every chance you get because you understand that not everyone gets to enjoy such luxury as your own pet, especially one that lives inside your house. Your mom is super happy because she finally has another reason to make fun of her daughter's Tamagotchi obsession. She finds a really cool gadget on Amazon called an egg incubator. It's supposed to hatch eggs without human interaction, but it's still pretty expensive, so your family decides they can just get a dog instead. But when they bring it home, Lappies is sad because they didn't buy a real puppy. But then your parents come up with the great idea. Why don't they put the doggy in the egg incubator and let it hatch? The problem with this plan is that the eggs don't look very safe. They're cracked all over and there seems to be some sort of fluid leaking from them. You know what will happen if it hatches into an actual baby animal, right? That's why you take care of all the dirty work for them by cleaning the room and making sure that everything stays nice and sanitary. It takes about a month before everything comes out normal again, and even longer for the egg to be fully clean. You know that's going to be hard on everyone since they won't be able to use the kitchen anymore while you finish working on the mess. Finally, you make yourself lunch using Tamagotchi food because you have no appetite for anything else. And then you get a text message saying I'm coming. Your first egg hatching has begun. Your mom finally got sick of spending every night staring at your Tamagotchi screen, so she gave it to her brother so he could watch it too. He said it was so cool and awesome, but now he always gets up super early in the morning, so you can barely ever see him awake. Then one day he brings it back and says it stopped moving after all these years. So you're not sure whether to feel happy or sad. But my little pet is still alive. She's been waiting for me so patiently all this time, but I never saw it until today. What did she do all this time? How can I tell if it's really her? Oh well, as long as it doesn't die in the meantime, I'll just take care of it forever like she told me to, right? Mum while watching TV. Maybe we should let the kid have his own thing once in a while. Since he seems obsessed with that stupid toy, if that's what he wants, then fine. Maybe someday when he's older, he will be able to take care of himself without having a virtual animal looking over his shoulder constantly. You know, sometimes people are better off alone anyway. They don't need some imaginary friend to hold their hand every single second of every single day. Your mom finally decides to put your Tamagotchi into an egg incubator and have it hatch. When they bring out a tiny baby creature and you name it Lappies, you realize you made the right decision. It's kind and affectionate and very easy to take care of. Its only complaint is how it feels like it needs more food than usual because it was born too early. But do you think it?
Hmm. Mm.
Might grow up fast, so you won't starve to death so much. When you're not at work or school, you're either taking care of the pet or helping out with the chores around the house so that everyone else can relax as well. The dog is getting used to being outside, but there aren't any other animals living nearby, so you start wondering if maybe he could use another buddy. And then one day he brings home a new toy that he found lying on the side of the road. Why would someone abandon this thing? Is it broken? Lappies. I'm sure it's okay. Let me fix it for you. Oh wait, now we need some tools.
Hmm.
What tools are needed for the operation? Asterisk 1 point asterisk. Your mom keeps giving you money in secret from her husband so she can keep feeding Lappies, even though he hates pets and thinks they should all be humanely euthanized just like they do when people have cancer and stuff. She knows that Lappies will probably never become self-sustainable because it doesn't seem very smart, and also because nobody seems to really want to take care of something that's been abandoned by its owner and left behind in the trash can somewhere. So every single day she comes home and tells him about how Lapis is getting bigger because it needs more food than usual, but then after a few hours it grows back to normal size again.
Hmm.
She asks if he could source a big container for her to live in, with lots of hallways and fun slide parts to explore, but he refuses to give her a cent because he still hasn't figured out what a pet is or why someone would bother to raise one. You decide you don't want your Tamagotchi living outside in the streets anyway, since they're pretty cruel animals who might hurt it without even meaning to. Your parents get into an argument over this one, so you just stay quiet and hope they'll forget about the whole thing. One night the dog goes missing and no one wants to talk about it anymore, so they just assume he ran away. The next day they see that Lapis has run away too. They blame each other, but there's really not much they can do about it now.
Hmm. Where's the voice?
She asks if you could source a big container for her to live in, with lots of hobbies and fun-like parts for your pet to explore inside of them. It could hold a lot of room, but maybe not enough for an actual doggy or kitten. Then the next day you find out she actually did go buy one online. And you know what? Your mom secretly bought the same type of container as you. You don't understand why the other lady didn't ask if she could borrow it from you until you realize that it was just too small. But at least now everyone will be able to stop buying expensive Tamagotchis and just have one baby animal instead. You are happy that your family has decided to keep feeding Lappies even though they were both totally against it before. Lappy starts sending you excited emails about the new features coming up this quarter. One a special upgrade option that makes Lappies look super cool when you're hanging out with friends. 2 more people to feed, which will make your job even easier. 3 the ability to choose a gender, so Lappies can become either a boy or a girl topic. 4 a bunch of free items in Lappy's store, including some really awesome stuff like a Tamagotchi hotel where you'll need to get all the materials yourself, but once everything is set up you won't ever to worry about anything else. All you have to do is take care of Lappies, and in return Lappies will give you delicious treats every day and also provide a fun space for you to hang out and play. Permits and credentials will. Your mom gets mad at her brother because he keeps putting his dog's waste into their shared compost bin without telling them first. She doesn't think it's fair that they're paying him to house it while they're away on vacation, and he just does whatever he wants with their belongings. So she tells your dad that since they're going away for 2 weeks anyway, maybe they should just leave a key under the mat inside the front door. You know it would be easy to break open if your parents forgot one time though, so they decide they better ask your little sister to watch over the place instead. She seems kind of reluctant, but then finally agrees after your mom says that your Tamagotchi might not survive the trip by itself and needs some company or it will starve. Despair mode. You keep feeding Lappies even when you find out that you won't really need to buy more food or toys anymore. And now you don't have to clean up any poop because Lappy's digestive system is so advanced that it can do everything on its own. The only thing you have to focus on is making sure there aren't too many people in Lappy's habitat at once because some are unwanted and others are dangerous. But you've always known how dangerous dogs could be, so you're glad you get to take care of something that's actually good for society. Your pet loves everyone equally regardless of what type of person they are, rich, poor, black, white, gay, straight, etc.
Hmm.
You have an undiscrimination lot of papers to provide. Rimon takes your Tamagotchi for a walk and puts it into a cardboard box along with a few other stray animals from around the neighborhood. You think she might be a little overprotective sometimes, but you understand why, since she's the one who raised you while your dad was away fighting overseas. It must suck having such an amazing dog, but then never getting the chance to show off all the fun stuff your family got him. He doesn't even know if he'll ever see his parents again and has been waiting alone in the basement for weeks now without food or water. When you come home after work, you find out that someone had broken open Lappy's habitat during the day. But Lappy's defended herself with proportionate force. Asterisk 1 asterisk. What is Lappy's new form? It seems like nobody really wants to adopt this cute baby animal except you, so you decide that it would be best to give it a permanent place in the world, just in case it decides that it'd rather be alone forever than spend every waking moment with you. And also because it's lonely living inside of a tiny glass container that only opens when you want it to. You feel bad about leaving it behind by itself, so you go back to school and buy it a nice big cardboard box. Then you put a bunch of old newspapers into it and have your mom ship it all across the country to a foster family who will take good care of your pet and love on it until they're sure everything's okay. Supply chains will end. You start having some trouble getting enough money for rent and food, and your landlord gets really upset with you. He's never asked for your social security number before and thinks your family isn't doing anything to help since they could probably afford more but never seem to send him any cash at all. Your parents don't even pay taxes anymore, but you can tell he still cares for you because every day for a week you see a brand new toy bag sitting outside his apartment door. It turns out that he collects toys from different places and then gives them to children in through an organization that provides meals for kids in poverty. So one day while taking a walk in the park, you bring this gift-filled bag back home to give to Lappies.
Oh,
The poor little thing must be starving by now after not being fed by its owner for so long. You're just glad you've been able to find something that will make it happy again. Your pet is as sweet, cute, and affectionate as ever. You wish everyone else could learn to show the same kind of compassion toward it too. You have her non-discrimination love papers to prove it. You come back to your house only to find your dog has escaped from your cardboard box and taken refuge inside of your parents' closet where it's cold and dark. It's not fair. Why do they have to take away all your nice things? And your parents are on vacation without even telling you, so there was no way you could get another key under.
Mm.
But Matt, you think about how your mom always says she hates your pet, but also lets it sleep at your feet all night, even though its loud barking makes it hard to fall asleep sometimes. She's probably jealous because you actually want a real pet instead of an expensive toy like her parents got for her when she turned 5. If you put in some effort, you will be able to return Lappy safely home before your folks get back home. Asterisk 1 point asterisk. What items does Lappy's need for the operation? I can't believe someone left this big old piece of junk in their trash can after already throwing out everything else. But then it turns out that if you feed Lappies regularly enough, it will grow up really fast and turn into one of those rare dogs.
in the puzzles.
Lapuoso. The family dog gets run over by a car while crossing the street during the middle of the day, leaving behind a very sad and lonely little puppy that needs love and care immediately. Luckily, you're just around the corner from the accident and happen to witness what happened as it happens. So you rush straight to the scene and bring it to safety with you, using a giant cardboard box as a makeshift litter box and food dish until its parents finally arrive, happy to find the baby animal alive and safe once again. You can tell they were super upset because the pet is usually such a sweet girl, but now she's been traumatized so badly she doesn't even know how to trust anyone ever again.
Hmm.
You rehabilitate the pet. After watching an episode on TV about some people who had to move away from their families due to economic hardship, you decide that you should help them out instead of letting their pets starve. You see this guy posting signs all over town for lost animals like lappies that nobody will adopt because they think they'll have to pay for vet bills or buy expensive toys for their kittens/dogs. Then he tells everyone that if they just come down to this big open space where lots of dogs are kept, then they will be able to pick whichever one they want at no charge and take it home right away. The first few days of having a new pet seem kind of boring, but soon enough Luffy starts coming up with fun ideas of her own. Yay or nay, it's your birthday and there's a brand new Tamagotchi toy in your stocking. And it looks super cute when you put it into the habitat together with its older brother and sister. But it turns out but while its siblings get along swimmingly, Laffy's has a hard time getting used to living alongside another dog since she was always by herself before. It's okay though because you know she'll make friends eventually. She'll also need plenty of food to keep her happy, so you're sure you can find something tasty that won't cost too much. Lapis is not yet mature enough to go to work, but you've heard she loves ice cream. You ramp up her workforce studies by 20%, but okay. After being abandoned by his owners, Lapis got really depressed for weeks until someone finally came looking for her on TV after seeing her story about how nobody would ever adopt her unless they were rich enough to buy her tons of expensive toys or treat her like some sort of princess. So they brought her back to the house where they immediately start spoiling her rotten. The new family even makes a bunch of cute clothes for Lapis and buys all kinds of adorable accessories and stuff for her to play with. But sometimes Lapis gets bored and starts chewing the furniture and tearing up the walls instead of just lying around in a comfortable bogey bed. Maybe if she could learn more useful skills like cleaning or cooking, then people wouldn't feel so bad about giving her a home.
Mm. Mm.
Paying for food and everything else. It seems your little Lapis has taken a liking to this new member of the family. Asterisk, asterisk. What are you doing with your pet today? Your landlord stopped by one day because he heard you have an extra dog at home that's always alone during the day. He says he wants you to make him a promise. You can keep having your pet as long as it doesn't cause any trouble inside his building. Then he explains that there is another lost animal who needs a good home very soon. You agree to help out by keeping your pop outside when no humans are present, but you're sure that Lapis won't mind being part of your life since she'll be getting fed all kinds of delicious treats from now.
Hmm. Why is there no... Okay.
Making her happy at the same time. It's your pet's fault for never learning its sounds. You've been wondering why Laffy's always looks so sad when she sits next to you while watching television, but you figure it must be because she doesn't know how to use those things called remote controls, so she's trying to get closer so she can see what you're doing from inside the TV box. Then one day, after eating something that made you very sick, you pass out and fall into the bathtub. It turns out that Laffy has already figured out how to operate these fancy little machines without any help. You're super grateful, but also a bit concerned since now you don't have anyone to teach her how to do normal everyday tasks anymore.
Hmm. um, there's still no voice.
Treating her like royalty. You try to teach her some basic manners and social skills, but it's hard because it seems to have trouble learning anything at all. If only there was something you could do. You use your smartphone to create an app called Laffy's Favorite Things. It's supposed to help dogs develop good table etiquette so they don't mess up everyone else's stuff while being spoiled by their owners. But you never get any further than making a list of things you think Laffy might enjoy since you know nothing about pet training. The world needs more dogs who can open doors and fetch their own food. Laffy's is doing great now that someone taught her how to hold a leash. Now to teach Laffy's about palliative care. What does Laffy's need for the operation? A few weeks ago, a friend told you about this guy on TV named Bob who said he'd be happy to take Laffy's into his loving home as long as nobody tried to make her do tricks or anything. So when she gets really depressed one day after being left alone for days without any treats or affection from her owner, you bring your poor girl over to the animal shelter where the man lives. You explain everything to him about what happened and why she got abandoned, and ask if it would be okay with him to adopt your dog. He agrees immediately because it turns out that even though people like him don't have any pets themselves, they still love them dearly and want to see everyone else's too.
Hmm.
Then you give Lappy some nice new clothes and accessories and set off for your vacation spot in Mexico. Your heart just breaks every time you go back home and find that someone else has adopted Lappies before you could save it. But you're not giving up. There's always another chance to get her back. Asterisk 1 point asterisk. Lappy seems lonely now that everyone stopped feeding her all of those yummy fruits they used to leave for her outside her doorstep whenever they were away for work. Maybe someone will come along who can understand her better than anyone else. You use your smartphone to create an app called Lappy's Favorite Things. It's supposed to help dogs develop good table etiquette so they don't mess up everyone else's.
Hmm. Why? Hmm.
They have all kinds of plans in mind to help animals and each other, which just makes your heart warm and full of hope for the future. He's going to show Lappy some of the good things that are outside of the cardboard box. You can tell that Lappy's loves getting dressed up by looking at all those pictures of fancy dogs on Instagram, so you go ahead and get her a whole bunch of pretty clothes. Now whenever you take her out for a walk, you can dress her up as a princess for the entire world to admire. It feels great knowing you've helped make someone happy for once. Your new pet is not yet mature enough to attend school.
Hmm. Oh wait, but I didn't teach you value care.
But wait, how is that possible? I've been teaching them palliative care. One day while watching television, we learn about this awesome charity called the Gentle Bard, who has lots of rescued animals living in happy conditions. Their website explains everything about how they provide homes for older and special needs pets. We also read about how they give these animals love and attention until they pass away peacefully. If only Laffy's could stay healthy forever, then she would never have to worry about being alone or neglected ever again. You know that your little Lato will be loved by all the staff there because they have no idea what kind of animal they're taking care of. But it's just too cute when they go all out to spoil her. So even though Lapis isn't old enough for all their services just yet, she can still get all the love and affection of Puppy. Cement Lapis is the fillet with the old Tamagotchi home. After reading a story online about some people who had to move from a big city due to economic hardship, you decide that you should do something nice for them instead of letting their pets starve. But since you don't know much about pet sitting, you take a bunch of information you find on a pet care website and bring it over to the shelter so you two can work together to figure things out. After asking around, you finally settle on the perfect dog for you. Blackbees. She is very good at playing fetch and giving you lots of belly rubs whenever you need it. Plus, she gets along great with other dogs. And after teaching her how to sit properly, you put in some time every day helping her practice different behaviors, like going into an imaginary fire.
Hmm.
putting her paw up when asked to say yes before getting treats for being able to hold her leash without being dragged around. Now Luppies will be ready for all kinds of exciting adventures once you guys go live together. Yay or nay? You've been looking all over for something cute, but cheap enough for your little girl to wear all the time because that way people won't stare at her too much when they see her wearing clothes. Finally, one day while watching TV, find exactly what you're looking for. A tiny pink colored that fits perfectly on Lappy's neck. It's only a few bucks, but it makes the whole thing feel so special knowing that you took the time to find a present that shows up its uniqueness. See, I firmly personate. You are not just a dog. Lappies. Okay then, thank you. After a long day of work, you come home and discover a new kind of pet sitting service called Lapsizzle, where instead of leaving pets with strangers in an unfamiliar place, they take them right into their own homes and keep them company as if they were real family members. All you have to do is pay $1.20 per night, which isn't very expensive at all compared to most pet care services out there. So when you show up to pick up your dog from the office, you realize she looks completely different than when you left her. Her eyes look happy again, and she even wags her tail like normal. Want to kick it up another notch? One day after going for a walk, you notice something weird about Luffy's leash. There's some sort of strange device attached to it. You check the website and find out it's actually a tag that can be scanned by a reader that lets people know Lappies is a registered dog. Now that's a neat invention. If only Lappies could learn how to hold a phone or computer screen properly so it would help get more people interested in adopting a puppy just for fun. Then everyone would understand why taking a cute animal home is a good thing rather than letting them starve. But since she's not mature enough yet, this just has to wait until next year.
Hmm.
You teach your lappies about puberty. When you wake up one morning, you see your little dog sitting sadly on her bed with nothing but a paint collar. It turns out that while she was playing fetch with the other dogs earlier, someone stole her ball and ran away before she even noticed. After seeing all the photos of lost pets online, you realize you must have been looking at pictures of puppies all along, which makes you feel really sad and guilty. And now you don't even know what happened to her owner either. So you set off to look for clues wherever possible. The streets where the person lived, the places they frequented, and even their social media accounts. You do lots of research and finally find something promising when you realize the guy used his real name for everything except for Lapis. Now you've got a new lead, so you start combing through different news sources to find information on this Bob guy. A few weeks later, you learn he owns an auto repair shop called Bob's Garage, located right near downtown. The man who worked there said that people always come by asking if anyone has seen a black dog with a red collar around its neck or a white one wearing a pink collar. Your mission is clear. You take your friend over to this place to ask some questions. A neighbor tells you about a bunch of barking dogs coming from Bob's house every day after work. It sounds like everyone else has been complaining because these dogs have been going crazy lately.
Hmm.
You approach the dogs and try to de-escalate, but your efforts are useless as the animals attack in full force. The next morning you wake up and see that all the furniture is broken and all the windows have been shattered. All the other neighbors have been saying horrible things about Bob, accusing him of being a bad person who hurts innocent pets just for fun, but you still can't believe it could be true. Then at breakfast you learn that Buffy's owner was taken into custody for animal abuse and put on probation for 3 months. He also had his home condemned, which means he'll never get any more pets ever again, no matter how many he might want. After that he got thrown out of his auto repair business too for running an illegal dog fighting ring where he made money by selling tickets to fight his own pet. The whole community is happy knowing that justice has finally prevailed. Everyone has even learned a lesson on how they should treat their furry friends. But if only Lapis hadn't gotten so depressed because her owners left her alone for days without food or water, then none of this would have happened. Now she's dead and gone forever because nobody realized what kind of puppy she really was before it was already too late. We are very sorry you didn't know enough about dogs to help keep her alive. Lapis is now safely back with their neighbor after having received the proper care from the shelter. It's been 3 years since your friend rescued your beloved Lappies and took her into his loving home, and it turns out that people have been giving him lots of compliments. Oh, really? Because of my raising that fucking thing? That makes me feel so good about myself. You see, the one reason you kept Lappies around despite all these terrible things that happened to her is because deep down inside, you always knew that no matter how much trouble she got herself into, she'd always come through in the end. And not only that, but there are plenty of other cute dogs like her out there who need a chance at a better life too. So every time you think about how sad and lonely she used to look when she was alone, you just want to do something nice for her even if you can never be as close to each other again. You're glad to know she has a wonderful new owner who will love and care for her forever. Forever. You sob. One day after work while looking through some photos online, you discover pictures of your friend's house and yard littered with dead and decaying animals. The next morning, you wake up early and go over to check on your dog after seeing all the news stories about Bob's illegal animal abuse case. When you arrive at your neighbor's house, you find the door wide open, so you hurry inside and call Laffy's name until she appears from the basement where he keeps all the puppies. It turns out that your friend had left his job at the auto repair shop earlier this week because of the constant harassment and bullying by customers who blamed him for the deaths of all their beloved pets. He was going to give it all up anyway, since there were so many angry people coming into his store. Accusing him of hurting dogs without any proof whatsoever. But before doing that, he asked Fluffy if she would wait for him in hopes that one day they'd be together again. Then he went out that very night and spent everything that was left of his life savings buying an abandoned warehouse building across town and moved there to start a new life for himself, his dog, and other animals whose owners are in jail or can't keep them anymore due to bad circumstances. Sounds like your friend has a lot on his shoulders right now, but he also knows exactly what kind of person he wants to be and is willing to work hard to become someone better than he was yesterday. You hug your dog, knowing you'll never let her go again. Letting go is always the hardest part. On the morning of the last day of Bob's trial, everyone waits outside the courthouse anxiously as the verdict comes down. Guilty on all counts. The judge gives the guy 5 years probation along with fines totaling $15 million. Then, after making sure the man leaves the courtroom without incident, the judge lets it slip that the actual sentence will probably end up being 10 times that much, since there were multiple animal cruelty charges brought against him. But regardless of the final outcome, all the neighbors have already forgiven him for all the terrible things he did, because they understand how difficult it must have been for him to deal with so many people accusing him of horrible crimes without any evidence to prove otherwise. As except for this one little bitch who couldn't shut up about her precious dog. You don't know if she got somewhere in it to go in or what, but you hope Bob learns a valuable lesson from this experience and becomes a better person for his newfound fame and fortune. He gets his life back together and starts working hard at his auto repair shop again. And after seeing all those other animals finally get the help they deserve, Luffy's 2 decides that no matter what happens in her life, she'll never give up. She still has a long way to go before becoming the best dog ever, but you're proud to call her your friend and promise that you will do anything you can to help make that happen.
Hmm.
Thanks, said Luffy's, and she leapt onto the fence. I must start my new life as an animal rights vigilante. Got to vent out that rage. I need to do with that. I understand, replied the human, putting down the newspaper. The dog walked away silently until she reached the street. As soon as she was gone, he grabbed his cell phone and started making calls. The next morning, when everyone wakes up, they notice it's unusually quiet around the neighborhood. After searching every corner of Bob's property, there is nothing left of him. His car is missing along with all his clothes and belongings. Then, after looking online and checking various news stories, people find out how much time Bob got behind bars for all those animal cruelty charges he received earlier this month. There were also more than 10,000 pages of evidence proving his guilt without any question or doubt whatsoever. All that money Bob made from his auto repair shop went straight into buying a nice new home for himself, so. could create a den of torture especially for types of breeds. He had favorites, and since most pets can't tell humans what's being done to them in such a short amount of time, Laffy's owner couldn't be convicted of animal abuse due to lack of evidence. So now everyone knows who that mysterious man really was and where to go to make sure he never hurt another innocent creature ever again. It was him all along, you say. Lappy knew it too. You're right, says the dog, still feeling bad about not coming clean sooner. But I didn't want to believe it until it was too late. Eh? But you finally found your voice at the end there, replied the human as she passed the dog on the back. But just then they hear someone approaching through the forest and look over to see an older woman carrying something heavy under her arm. Oh no, here we go again. It sounds like trouble is brewing once more. The old lady looks tired, holding herself up against the wind with one hand while clutching onto a piece of paper in the other. Her hair blows in every direction, blown by the cold gust of air which whips past in front of her eyes. The sound of snow crunching beneath her feet fills the clearing as she slowly approaches the pair in silence before kneeling down beside Laffy's and laying out what's in her arms. A small puppy that's already grown into a full-grown adult.
Hmm.
Way too soon. Hello there, said Laffy's quietly as she ran her nose along its fluffy fur. I'm sorry for your loss. Thank you, replied the dove softly as she nuzzled up against it gently. You know I had to leave this place behind when my owner passed away. So sad, you say. Why didn't you ever tell me about him? He was so ashamed of his life that he didn't want anyone to find out who he really was. And now you've come to take your friend back home. Yes, sighed Lapis. Then turning back to the old woman she asked, where did you get her from?
Hmm. You know what? Ah.
KNW1? I don't know either. But after a moment of thinking about all of those horrible things they wrote about Bob, everyone is relieved at hearing that the newfound hero is not only alive but living well and making a difference in people's lives once more. And if you're wondering, yes, Lapis and her family will be moving into the abandoned warehouse with her. They have a lot of catching up to do and are excited for what lies ahead for both of them in this brand new adventure together. One day, a few weeks later, as you watch television, you see some footage on the news where an elderly dog lady in Iowa gets arrested for animal cruelty after being accused of feeding human meat to one of her beloved dogs.
What?
What is this? Some sort of inverse cat-funded version of Dexter. You laugh to yourself as the channel switches over to another report showing two women in California who were recently arrested due to neglecting and abusing their dog by keeping it locked in a small kennel cage 24 hours a day without any fresh food or water. The poor thing has been completely neglected since birth. When they finally got him out of his prison, he was covered in filth and had so many scars he was practically deformed. His hair is falling out from malnutrition and starvation, and there's also something seriously wrong with his teeth. It sounds like their entire household lives are inside a complete mess because they're too busy having fun torturing and abusing animals rather than taking care of themselves. This definitely isn't normal behavior. But very much speculated on in Dodo videos. You wonder if all these people are actually sick people that happen to be rich and live in nice homes while still managing to find time to hurt innocent creatures. If this is true, then how are we supposed to protect our pets? Maybe you need to do what Laffy did. Take action yourself, and if anything happens to you, remember, we must never give up. And I can hear her now. It will get easier, but it won't be easy. Just keep moving forward. I'll try to listen. Thank you. When you go over to the warehouse to say goodbye before they move out for good, your friend says he's going back to work at an auto shop near his home after hearing about his old job being closed. Dum dum dum. End of pilot episode of Pop and Nova. Special Victims Unit. Now say goodbye to your friends as they move on with their new life abroad. Thank you for watching. If you liked this episode, please tell a friend. Share this video with a dog owner who could benefit from learning more about why their pet needs them. And as always, leave us any comments or suggestions on how we can make the show even better. We hope you enjoyed watching this pilot episode of Pop and Order and that you're looking forward to future installments. Good night, everybody, and Happy New Year. Special thanks to these awesome people who made this project possible. Our friends at Animal Flight for making it possible for us to share these stories. Our viewers like you. Without all of you, there would be no point creating the kind of content we do here. Please continue to support us so we can keep doing what we love. The creators of Dodo videos for providing such awesome material to inspire our writing. My family for putting up with my long absences while I was busy working on the show. My parents especially for supporting me in everything I do. Thank you. All of you who've watched episodes 1 through 6 and have loved them so much that you decided to send us letters or emails thanking us for sharing your stories and asking if there's going to be more. Well, now you know the answer. Yes, there are plans already underway for a second season. We've got all sorts of animals purchased through the donors that we are going to put in the most nightmare situations only to save them and give you all a delusional notion that this world is improving. So stay tuned as we set out to test their strength, bravery, and ability to survive by forcing them to take part in even more horrible trials, and ultimately succeed. We hope that everyone has enjoyed watching the first 2 seasons and look forward to making many more for you all. Thanks again. Also check out this link where we talk about our upcoming season 2. And please follow us on Twitter at @PupaNorder. It means a lot when people want to interact with us directly. If you'd like to write something down, then use this handy form. Click here to write a letter. I would also like to thank these fine folks for letting me share our work here on Tamagotchi. And don't forget to verify your pet. You don't want to see deepfakes now, do you? Check out the quickly verify right now. They're totally legit. Pun intended. If you haven't checked out your local shelter or doggy daycare yet, why not go now and make sure they are legitimate and worthy of your trust? Give back by helping homeless dogs find forever homes and treat the ones that are already yours better than ever before. Do it today. You'll feel much better tomorrow, guaranteed. All characters depicted are over 18 years old, or 21 in places where that is required by law. The stories are fictional and any similarities between the events described and reality are purely coincidental and unintended. Any likeness of real people is completely unintentional and uncredited. As for the animals, no protections. So fuck 'em. If someone wants to own a fucking rat for a pet, then who am I to judge? The only reason I've been able to continue doing what I do as an artist since becoming a parent has been because of you, my audience. You all inspire me to keep making new things every day for you to enjoy and learn from. Without you, this show wouldn't even be possible. Thank you. And to our generous supporters, you're a dream come true. We can never thank you enough. If there's anything we can do to return the favor, please let us know. Your donations allow us to create more episodes like this one. And if you prefer to make your donation in another way, such as purchasing items through Amazon or PayPal, click here. Just click. And now a moment of silence to all those we lost last year. Dr. Eugene, Hoops, Al Hammond, Larky, Baidu, the Scottish Labrador, Jobs, Carmela and Candy the Cats, a few other friends that won't ever make it out of Dodo videos, and, oh yeah, my dog Jax. He was cool too, but not on TV. I hope he knows how much I loved him. What would I ever do without my best friend? I used to ask myself. I had no idea what I was missing until I found the special person who has made everything better since she came into my life. Thank you, my darling. Thank you, my love, for being by my side for all these years and taking care of me when my health took a turn for the worst. The other cat with his name I don't remember. This story was originally created in early 2018 and released on April 1st, 2019. The theme for this particular release is furry and joy. I've got it, he said, sitting down at the desk and pulling out some paper and a pencil. Let's see, where do I begin? He looked over your handiwork for a moment and smiled. You could hear Bob giggling from the living room where he was playing video games. You glanced up toward the stairs and saw him leaning back in the recliner, resting his feet on the armrest while bobbing his head along to the music coming from his headphones.
Okay, we're done. Long ass ending. Long ass ending. Oh. Hello. Got caught up in Tamagotchi based thrillers